Howdy, my name is Jason Karosik, and I'm here to update you on Roku Pay virtually this year. But first, for our new attendees, what is Roku Pay and how does it help Roku developers? Roku Pay is Roku's purpose-built payments and subscription system. It's built for streaming. Roku Pay enables consumers to subscribe with their Roku remote with just a touch. The Roku user experience and infrastructure, it's going to enable your business to reach more consumers with a better user experience. Ultimately, implementing Roku Pay grows your trial starts, increases conversions, and deepens consumer engagement with your content. Here are a few highlights. Roku Pay reduces a complex process that has over 100 keystrokes to just a few presses of the remote. The purpose-built system results in 2x in conversion and 2.5x more free trial starts. And of course, all this generates the goodwill of consumers who they just want to enable great streaming with great content, minimal hassle. Since I was last on this stage, we continue to invest in the 10-foot experience. We've rebuilt the core payments platform, changing our core payments infrastructure, the subscription infrastructure, and our bank acquirer. Developers can now attract more consumers with improved introductory offers, better free trials, and subscription upgrade and downgrade in your app. And these capabilities are all available on the Roku TV itself. For consumers, Roku consumers can more effectively manage their subscriptions. And we've also improved our consumer communications around the critical events in the consumer journey around payments, further deepening that foundational trust with your own applications. Internationally, we've launched Roku Pay in Brazil, enabling consumers to purchase content locally in the local currency with connections to the local acquiring networks in Brazil. Similarly, in Mexico, we've also enabled consumers to purchase in pesos and also with local connections to the acquiring networks in Mexico. Local connections in both Brazil and Mexico improve the consumer experience. It increases your approval rate and ultimately the conversion to paid. Internationally, Roku Pay handles sales taxes and VAT, as well as currency conversions on your behalf. We will and continue to invest in enabling local payment methods that enable the best possible streaming experience. With upgrade and downgrade, consumers can change their subscription on the fly, right on the Roku TV, upgrading to a premium plan or downgrading to alternatives. From a developer point of view, as we mentioned earlier, we're now offering this feature. If you have multiple plans, such as a monthly or annual plan, or an ad-free plan, you'll need to incorporate this entitlement status, and the Roku Pay system will handle the rest, including proration of subscription fees. Implementation is simple, and it's great for your channel. First, in the developer dashboard, establish a product group. Grouping is important as it makes sure that a consumer can't sign up for both a monthly and an annual plan at the same time. Or in other words, defining a product group ensures your consumers are charged only once, not twice, just once. Next, in the channel, use the order command, as you normally would, but add the upgrade or downgrade as an additional parameter. And then, of course, call the validate transaction to update the purchase information. It's simple. We do our best to keep these changes to be simple, to speed your development so that you can get through the certification process quickly. By the way, if you do offer multiple plans, this is a certification requirement. Detailed documentation is available at developer.roku.com. As part of our built for streaming experience, as a developer, you can also offer promotional pricing, including scheduling availability of introductory pricing to a specific time period. And these subscriptions can be set to auto-renew monthly, annually, with new or existing products. Changes to offers are implemented in the developer dashboard, and they're available to your applications immediately. Beyond the developer experience, consumer empowerment, particularly managing subscriptions, is important to Roku. And we've introduced enhanced capabilities to managing subscriptions across providers in one place with a simple-to-use interface. Now, I'd be remiss not to mention our investments in the ideal developer integration. Over time, with thousands of developers and applications like yours, we've learned that the ideal integration with the best consumer experience has several critical components. To highlight a few, use the Roku credentials. The request for information or get account details service, it enables the consumer to provide, with their permission, any information that you need to set up your account. Use account linking. Many users have multiple Roku TVs like me. They have multiple streaming devices in the household, and nothing makes a bad experience like having to enter credentials separately on each Roku TV in the house. As a developer, you can solve it. Use our single sign-on or account linking feature. All TVs in the consumer's account will be ready to go for their streaming without any additional setup hassle for the consumer. Use the Roku Pay core service. Of course, the Pay service keeps it simple. And critical, offer tailored plans for key market segments. Some consumers would rather watch ads to save money. Other consumers would rather purchase an annual plan to avoid monthly billing. Participate in instant sign-up. This service enables you to present your offer to the consumer when they very first activate their Roku. With each of these core functionalities, we've also learned much about the optimal flow. 3 touches of the Roku remote is optimal. After account linking, and after you pitch your offer, create your account using the Get Account Details, confirm the subscription with Pay, of course, and then enable streaming immediately. If you need help, we've also set up a Getting Started video on Roku Pay. The video covers the dashboard, implementing the Roku Pay API, and testing your application. The videos are available in the Roku Developers channel, as Ruth had highlighted earlier. The videos are also available on the Roku Developer site and on YouTube. In closing, thank you for partnering with Roku to deliver great streaming experiences for consumers. Roku developers know all content will be streamed, and developers also need a payments and subscription capability purpose-built for streaming. Roku Pay is that system. And now I think we have time for a few questions.
All right, we are back live. Thank you, Jason, for the pre-recorded broadcast, and you can go ahead and turn on your video now, as well as the other panelists supporting you. And you can unmute yourself as well, Jason. Thank you. All right, so we have Ranjan Sitharma on the line as well. He is a senior manager for software engineering on the Roku Pay side of things. And so we'll start with the questions now. The first question actually is one that was written in advance of the summit for the Roku engineering panel later today, but I think it's better suited to field to this audience. So the question was somewhat open-ended around planned enhancements for the in-app billing process and also for testing.
So thanks for that question. Testing is very important for any kind of application, so I think I can empathize with you 100% on that. Certainly, testing is a platform-wide question on how we're going to improve our sandbox capabilities. Right now, I would love for that individual to give us further details um, to ensure that we're really thinking about the types of things or types of enhancements that we could make to Roku Pay. So, please tell us more. But right now, there's no specific plan to change the sidecar loading aspects of testing in Roku Pay. And I will hand it to Ranjan and Dennis, who may want to augment that a little bit. Ranjan?
Ranjan, anything to add?
Okay. Yeah. The testing aspect on the staging or test environments or sandbox is slightly bigger than Roku Pay itself. We need to have a stable app which is working well, streaming and other aspects, and you can add monetization to that. So yes, there are some plans. We are testing out internally some of our apps to see how well and where are the gaps and working towards fixing them. So maybe sometime in future we should be able to launch some aspects of testing on our sandbox environments.
Excellent. Jason, to your point about us fielding feedback about better ways to improve our testing experience, I'll just address the developer audience. If you want to submit any feedback or feature suggestions to developerrelations@roku.com, we can make sure that Jason and team get that product request. And just as a bit of housekeeping too, Dennis Wong is now on the line. He's from our partner engineering team, and he specializes in the Roku Pay area. So we have a question here, Jason, from Felipe, and he's asking if there's a way to redirect an app to the overall Roku subscription management area.
So Felipe, thank you for that question. I'm not sure what you mean by redirect the app to the subscription management question. Tom, do you know, or?
Yeah, my interpretation of the question is if there is some command that would, to me, it seems like you would exit the user would exit the application and be sent to the on-device subscription management screen on the Roku home screen.
Yes, so we are, as I just went through a few minutes ago, we are substantially enhancing, and we have enhanced the managing subscriptions portion of Roku. It's really important that we empower our consumers to be able to do the subscription management on their account. So I don't think there is a way, but it's a very interesting idea, and I would guess, or I would infer that, Felipe, you're thinking that in your app you might have a subscription management item in your app, and then that might go out to the Roku subscription management app. And I think that's a very interesting idea. That's not part of our plans, but now that I've heard it, it has some interesting rings to it. I definitely will take that back to the team.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Always great to get live feature requests.
Yes.
So we have a question here from JR Butler that's a pretty interesting one. So JR is asking if there is a reliable way, perhaps either tied to validation of the user's payment method or address, to identify the user's home country within the app so that the app can better support requirements for determining eligibility for EU content portability, for example, and making sure the EU or the resident in that case is a member of the EU in an EU country.
I think there are two answers to that question. I'm going to speak to half of it, and then I'll kick it to Ranjan and Dennis for their ideas. So I usually don't like to talk too much about new features in the future because things can change, development plans can change, funding can change, all sorts of different priorities can change. But I will tell you that we have in the books with some advanced development already underway a get location API or a get location service. It's a little early to describe exactly how it would work, and probably next year at this exact session, I'll be telling you all about it. But that's half the answer. There might be ways you could get some of the information today, and for that I would hand it to Ranjan and Dennis.
Yeah, from the channel store, there is the. It's not in the channel store. It's in the device info. There is an API that you can call get country code, so that will give you the channel store for the user. So, but as Jason mentioned, there may be enhancements in the future for more information.
So some of our partners, what they do is they take the client IP coming from any of their HTTP calls and the IP to location translation, they do it on their side to figure out where the user is currently present. And based on that, they set the regional preferences for them. So there are partners doing it on their own today. Like Jason was mentioning, if there is an API to get all the information, that would probably simplify the process.
Excellent. So Justin Foos from Showtime is asking if the new product group requirement is just a matter of setting up groups in the developer portal for existing products, or if there are some known use cases or edge cases beyond that that might require additional work on the partner's back end in order to support and not break anything with the current product implementation.
Yeah, there is no restriction on adding the existing products today. There should not be any additional development work, but you should be aware that the idea of putting products together is to manage mutual exclusion. And in case you're already having customers who have subscribed into multiple subscriptions, that might cause some problem. Reach out to us. We can help you on how to set that up. And in future, if you're expecting customers to have subscriptions to multiple products, they should not be in the same group. So as long as you understand how the groups work, there shouldn't be any development work on your side to add them to the same groups.
That's right. So Ranjan, I wonder if you can just expand on that question a little bit. If you can speak to scenarios where it's not necessarily an upgrade downgrade that results in products being put in the same group, but some other scenario where you still shouldn't be able to subscribe or purchase these same products, even though it's not just monthly to annual or 4K, HD to 4K.
Yeah, so some of those scenarios are what Tom was explaining right now. Is if you have monthly, annual, if you have ad-free and premium, so something which offers the same content, but products that offer the same content, but you're marketing it or selling it, or the payment options on that is different, then customers should not be buying into multiple such products because it's the same content. So in that case, you would put them into the product group. The other use case is what he also mentioned was the upgrade downgrade. In case if you guys are considering of implementing upgrade downgrade, in case customers want to switch from monthly to annual or from one package to other, you could set them up in the product group as well. So it's a way for you to not give us pre-configure some of the details on our side. So when the user is trying to buy something, you can pass in a flag to us in the API that tells us they are trying to upgrade, and we will figure out what are they upgrading from, cancel the one that they already have, apply the prorated amount to the one they are upgrading. So we take care of managing that, which I think you guys were doing on your side by refunding, prorating, and all that complication will be handled by us.
Very good. So we have a question here from Andres Del Rio. And the question is if there is a way to set product costs in other countries different than the US.
Yes, you can do that in our setup in our developer platform, our developer portal, and I would actually hand it to either Dennis or Ranjan to give you the details.
Yeah, so even today you can set up price tiers per country. So if you go pick up the price tiers, you can specify which price tier you would like to set. And that should be the price for that specific country.
And that's really important. And before you dive in, Dennis, this is really important because every market is different. And so the same price, as much as you might want the same revenue in every country, the same price might not work in every country because the price points and the economics associated with pricing really needs to be focused on a particular country. And just as Ranjan said, and I interrupted Dennis, but Dennis, you probably will add.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that if your product is set up for in different countries, Roku Pay will do the automatic conversion. But if you normally that may not work for a lot of cases. So the recommendation is to set, if you are in different countries and you want to set a different price other than Roku's automatic conversion, you should set a different product with a different price in that local currency, and your channel should be able to handle that. You should be able to detect the country, and offer the product in that country with the correct price in the local currency.
Excellent. So probably the most popular question that's coming in is around the billing testing feature and using it with multi-user functionality within the dashboard. So last year we introduced to you all the multi-user feature, which allows you to access certain areas of a different developer's account based on your permissions that you're granted. And so the question is, if you're granted developer permission to test or upload metadata and packages about a channel, you're still not able to use that channel for billing testing. And so I think it's a fairly open-ended question around our plans to address that gap. And I guess I'll start by, Jason, it looks like maybe you're raising your hand for that. Oh, either of these two. So Ranjan and Dennis, maybe you guys have a little bit more color you can add on that. So it's a somewhat of an open-ended question. I think my specific question to you would be, in the absence of that feature, if maybe you know of any workarounds short of having, for example, a developer have to use their clients or their boss's credentials to log into their root account.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same problem. I have the same problem. So the way to address that is to create a private channel. So you use a private channel, you put the products there, and you give it to your teammates or your colleagues to test, or your clients to test. So that's one way to address this. But yeah, there is room for improvement in the use for billing test feature. But I don't know. It's probably not in the roadmap at this point. But the private channel is a one way around that.
Yeah, I'm also not aware of anything specific we are doing for helping out during the testing phase with restrictions on who can access it and all that. There are test accounts that you can create and assign to your own channel so that the test accounts have access to the purchases and they are not charged. So you can test things that you are still private, but you add some test accounts and only those test accounts have access to purchasing. That's one of the options, and that's available in your developer dashboard. There's a manage test users option. You can go add some test accounts. Those should be Roku accounts. You add them, and then they should be able to purchase something on your app without having to pay for it. And those test accounts can purchase even in some scenarios before you enroll into billing. So if you're not enrolled in billing, and if you've not done your whole 9 yards to complete the sign up process, you can still make the purchases because you're in testing phase and they're test users.
Excellent. So this puts us, we're out of time for questions in this session. If there's no farewell remarks from the panelists, I'll let you all end your session.
As I said earlier in the video, just thank you so much for all of your help in creating and delivering fantastic consumer experiences. And as I also said in the video, I really believe Roku Pay is an essential element of that so that you can avoid terrible consumer experiences with 100 clicks type stuff. Just a couple of clicks. So thank you.
All right, awesome. So thank you all for your time and joining us today. So, Jason's session told us a lot more about Roku Pay and that side of the monetization equation. And so now we're going to hand things over to Sandro Catanzaro, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about this demand API that Wendy introduced earlier and how you can use it to more effectively monetize your ad inventory. So with that, we're going to hand things over to Sandro.